Erfan Kudusov and his family don't have much to remind them of home. Mostly photos on their computer or mobile phone. Members of Crimea's mostly Muslim Tatar minority, they chose not to live under Russian rule. Today they live in a suburb of Kiev.
Living in Crimea is like being in prison. It's not a nice life. There's no freedom of expression. In kindergarten, the children are taught that Putin is their leader.
At the time of the Maidan protests, Kudusov left his family in Crimea to join the demonstrators in Kiev. That led to the overthrow of the pro-Russian government of President Viktor Yanukovych. Kudusov went home to his family in Crimea in the hope that everything would soon get better. Then the Russian army arrived. 1 year on, many Ukrainians are wondering what they should have done differently. At the time, Colonel Yuli Mamchur was the head of the Ukrainian Air Force base in Crimea. He remembers what it was like when the Russians came.
We had pro-Russian propaganda and staged protests before then. That wasn't anything unusual in Crimea. We also knew that Russian settlers from the Soviet era were living on the peninsula. But now we know it was a mistake to not take it all much more seriously.
Erfan Kudusov now has time to pick up his children from their school on the outskirts of Kiev. The family has been here for a year now, but it's been hard. In Crimea, they had a business managing holiday apartments. In Kiev, they've struggled to find work. Unemployment is high.
We're just not powerful enough to fight for our interests. Without help from the state or the international community, it's really difficult. Crimean Tatars are a small group. There are just 300,000 of us.
Kudusov pays a visit to Tatar artist Rustem Skibin. He makes traditional pottery in his new studio. Now a cramped apartment in Kiev. When he left Crimea, he left behind his house and his workshop. He still wants to live on the peninsula, but not under Russian rule.
Everything is dark there now. There's no joy anymore.
Many Crimean Tatars who fled their homes are now carrying on with their culture and traditions as best they can, scattered across Ukraine.